Fallen Leaves Publishing presents Tales from the Tank, Season 1, Episode 3, Fish Out of Water. Written by Porsche Ray and read by Mallory Peters. This is companion material for Book 1 in the Melinda series. Introduction. Tales from the Tank are short stories that are companions to the larger standalone novels in the Melinda series. They can be read before, after, or simultaneously with their corresponding novel. This story happens alongside Chapter 7 in Melinda and Her Father Go Scuba Diving, Book 1 of the Melinda series. Where the main books in Melinda focus on Melinda herself, Tales from the Tank is from Teensie's perspective, and will introduce you to things Melinda is unaware of. Preface. Hi, I'm Teensie, Melinda's pet fish. I figure since she gets to tell her stories, I should be able to tell mine as well. You and I, well, we probably don't have much in common. I am a goldfish after all, and I need to be submerged in water to survive. You likely live on the dry side and breathe air and all that. I think you'll be surprised at how similar our stories actually are. Listen on for a behind-the-scenes peek at what really goes on in the Longer's house. Tales from the Tank, Season 1, Episode 3, Fish Out of Water. I was made for the water. My fins cup the perfect amount of liquid awesomeness to propel me whenever I want to move. My swim bladder lets me decide how buoyant I want to be. My gills let me breathe. I'm a goldfish, and I can talk to humans. Melinda and her father? They were not made for the water. Nope. No way. When they had told me they didn't know how to swim, I had rolled my eyes. I mean, how could someone not know how to swim on a planet that's mostly water? They hadn't been kidding. They had just returned to the car from their first scuba diving lesson, and from the sounds of it, it hadn't gone well. There was a lot of hope that they could improve enough in time for the scuba diving trip to Nova Scotia we had planned. I was going to take them to locate a lost treasure. Then, with all the money they got from selling it, they were going to build me a bigger tank. The plan was foolproof. Well, until I had learned that neither of them could swim. While we are thinking about Teensie's tank, we need to come up with a travel tank for him, said Melinda. I don't like the idea of putting him in a baggie every time we go out. My ears perked up. Sometimes my mind could wander. Melinda and her father thought that everything they had to say was important, but I had other ideas. Hearing my name was a surefire way to bring my attention back to the conversation. I really don't like the baggie, I said. In fact, traveling inside a plastic bag might even be worse than having my scales pet. Maybe. While I had waited for them to return from their lesson, all the horrible things that could happen to a fish stuck in a bag had filtered through my mind. What if the bag ran out of fresh air? What if a leak started? What if the plastic was really poisonous and leached into my water? I watched as Melinda's father frowned. I really do like going out, I said. I had quickly realized that without the baggie, I might never leave the Longers' house again. Now that I had been out into the community with them a few times, it wasn't something I wanted to end. I just don't like being trapped in something that's so easy to pop. Maybe we can find a backpack fish carrier or a waterproof fanny pack, said Melinda's father. My tail started to wag. I didn't know what either of those things were, but both sounded like things that would allow them to take me with them. That meant I wasn't going to have to stay home. I like that idea, I said. I'll be able to go with you everywhere. What's a fanny pack? Asked Melinda. Really, it was a question I should have asked, but I didn't. Who cared what a fanny pack was if it meant I was about to have more freedom? A fanny pack is like a wallet, but you wear it around your waist, said Melinda's father. My tail stopped wagging. He was suggesting they put me inside a wallet? You want to ride in a wallet? Asked Melinda. No, I did not. Was that really what a fanny pack was? Melinda's father's wallet was faded brown leather and small. It had to be to fit in his back pocket. I imagined how it would feel to be trapped inside it. It would be dark, and I wouldn't be able to engage with anyone or anything on the outside. Also, I'd be sat on all the time. This sounded like a terrible idea. Why would he even propose such a thing? I'd like something where I can see the people and places we go, I said. Like a baggie, but not a baggie. Yeah, said Melinda's father. I'm just not sure something like that exists yet. People have all sorts of exotic animals they take into public with them. I've seen monkeys on leashes, large birds on tethers, and dogs in strollers. But I've never seen anyone out walking their pet fish. Can you make something like that? I asked. I was afraid the answer was going to be no. I'm not sure. It will have to be watertight or you'll leak, and that won't be good, said Melinda. Do you think you'd want to be in the front or in the back? I thought about it. On her back, she'd be able to handle more weight, so I'd have more space to swim around in. But I wouldn't be able to see what she was seeing. On her front, my space would be limited to the amount of water she could comfortably carry, but we could see and talk about the same things. "The front," I said. "If you think you can make it at least as large as this bag is." "Then we should base our design off of a fanny pack," said Melinda's father. "I think I have an old one up in the closet at home. Maybe we can just replace the panels with a clear plastic or something." "Plastic?" I said. "Don't worry," said Melinda. "They make plastic much thicker than these bags. I'll for sure make it so it's not something you're worried about popping." I started to get excited. How much of the world was there for me to see and experience? I would have a little bubble of fish survivable space on the dry side. How many fish could say that? "Will I be able to decorate it?" I asked. Melinda frowned. "If I'm the one making it, I think I should get to make the decoration decisions." This had become a bit of a sore point between the two of us. She liked to rearrange my tank whenever she pleased, and had yet to consistently ask me before making decisions that affected my daily life. "I agree with Teensie," said Melinda's father. "If he's the one who has to stay in the space, then he should decorate it." Melinda folded her arms across her chest. "Either I make and design it, or I'm not doing either," she said. "Melinda," said her father. "No," she said. "I'm not putting in all that work for nothing." Her words stung, even if she didn't mean them how they sounded. At least, I hoped she didn't mean them like they sounded. I hoped my enjoyment of my life was worth a little more than nothing to her. "Calm," said Melinda's father. "Let's relax for a minute before we bring out the big ultimatums." I tried not to get too nervous as I waited for Melinda to think the options over. I knew the baggie had to go. If we didn't come up with a better solution soon, an accident would see both me and the baggie go. And I didn't want things to end. I was really starting to enjoy my new life and the new relationships I was building. Waiting was hard. But interrupting her would just force her to double down on her earlier statement. Melinda's father knew this too, and I could see him glancing back at her in the rearview mirror as we drove. I hadn't been inside the swimming pool, but from what I'd heard before I tuned them out, the scuba lesson had been exceptionally difficult for him. I wondered if he realized how difficult it was for me to be out of my tank and in a baggie. "How about if you pick what the inside looks like and I pick what the outside looks like?" said Melinda, breaking the silence. I was annoyed. How about if I picked what my house looked like and she stayed out of it? I couldn't say that, though. And, in fairness to her, this new travel tank was something I was expecting her to wear. Choosing how it would look on the outside to others was a small compromise I was willing to make. Even if I choose something for the inside you don't like? I asked. I watched as Melinda frowned. It was clear to me that she wasn't happy with that idea. But I get to tell you I don't like it, and I get to make suggestions for other ways we could do it that I think would be better, she countered. And if I choose to stick with my way, we leave it at that, I said. No arguing. No sneaky swapping. And no lying to me about reasons why it needs to be done your way. Melinda's dad watched us through the rear view mirror, but didn't interrupt. It was a good sign that Melinda hadn't quickly said no and shut the conversation down. Still, it was frustrating for me. Did real people have to beg and plead as much as I did to get things their way? I thought about Melinda and her father, and realized the answer was a sad yes. For the most part, Melinda's father picked out what went on outside and inside the house, with the exception of Melinda's room. She was allowed to decorate that space as she pleased, and she was invited to make suggestions about the other spaces, but couldn't change anything without permission. For some reason, my tank seemed to be exempt from that rule. I can live with that, said Melinda, as long as it's not too terrible. I grinned. In Melinda's speak, that was a yes. Okay, said Melinda's father. We have our homework then. Melinda, you find a way to turn a fanny pack into a travel tank suitable for Teensie. I'll find some extra swimming times so I can work on getting my nose wet without suffocating. And Teensie, you start thinking about how you want the inside of this travel tank to look. My tail started to wag so hard, my fins vibrated. Freedom was just around the corner. I wondered how big the space was going to be. I couldn't really plan too much until I saw Melinda's idea, but I already knew that I wanted to try having some real plants inside, and bright red marbles on the bottom, exactly like one of the display tanks at the pet store. Just like that, things started looking up. And Teensie has to tap into whatever special trunk of knowledge he has access to, so we have the most up-to-date information possible about the treasure, said Melinda. I want to be as prepared as we can be, and know what to expect when we get into the water out there. I winced, but did my best to keep her from seeing it. The treasure was there, of that I was certain, or at least the treasure had been there at some point. I wasn't completely sure where my information came from, or how old it was, but they didn't need to hear anything but confidence from me. I had promised them a treasure, and we were going to look for it. I just hoped that what my memory was telling me was real and not some fish version of daydreaming. What would I do if we got to the location, and there was no sign of the treasure? What if we found the right place, but someone else found it first, and there was nothing left for us? I didn't think Melinda or her father would appreciate me very much then. "Don't worry," I said. "I've got this under control." Inside, I was panicking. Everything was not under control. Would they still want me around if this treasure hunt turned out to be a colossal waste of time? Author's note: enjoyed this short story? Give the main series a try. Melinda is available in print, digital, and audiobook formats. Looking for a free copy? Request your local library stock them, or join my special review team. Check my website for details, PorscheRay.com. The end. This has been a Fallen Leaves Publishing production of Tales from the Tank. Season 1, Episode 3, Fish Out of Water. Written by Porsche Ray and read by Mallory Peters. Produced, directed, edited, and mastered by Fallen Leaves Publishing. To listen to samples and to learn more about the authors, please visit the Fallen Leaves Publishing website at fallenleavespublishing.com. The Melinda series is available wherever you buy your books. Source copyright and production copyright 2022 by Fallen Leaves Publishing.